Rymir Satterthwaite has spent more than a decade trying to prove something that most people take for granted by the time they're in kindergarten: who their father is. But for Rymir, now 31 years old and the father of 3 children himself, the answer to that question has become an uphill legal and emotional battle with one of the most powerful men in music, Sean Corey Carter, better known to the world as Jay-Z. Despite years of legal filings, emotional appeals, and what he describes as an endless stream of delays, denials, and dead ends, Rymir says all he ever wanted was one thing: the truth. And according to him, that truth can be unlocked with a simple DNA test, a test Jay-Z has never taken. The origins of this saga date back to 1992, when Rymir's late mother, Wanda Satterthwaite, claimed she had a brief encounter with Jay-Z, who was then an up-and-coming rapper hustling his way through the streets of Brooklyn. Wanda was just 16 years old at the time, and Jay-Z was 22. Wanda later claimed that while they used protection during their alleged encounter, it failed. She gave birth to Rymir in July 1993. For much of his early life, Wanda raised Rymir on her own. She was in an on-and-off relationship with her high school boyfriend, Robert Graves, and for a while, he was believed to be Rymir's father. But that theory crumbled when Graves voluntarily took a paternity test in 2010. Results proved he was not biologically related to Rymir. That same year, Wanda asked a Pennsylvania court to make both Graves and Jay-Z submit to DNA tests to determine who Rymir's real father was. But things got complicated very quickly. Jay-Z's legal team responded by attacking the jurisdiction of the case, arguing that because the case had originally been filed in Pennsylvania, it had no standing in New Jersey, where the family had since moved. Then they claimed that even if the case was heard in New Jersey, Jay-Z should be exempt from a DNA test because he didn't live or own property in the state, despite public records tying him to multiple residences in places like Alpine and Newport. At every turn, Rymir and his legal guardian, Dr. Lily Coley, faced pushback from Jay-Z's powerful legal team. Cases were dismissed, records were sealed. Court dates came and went with little to no movement. During a 2012 pre-trial in Camden County, New Jersey, Jay-Z's attorney argued that because Rymir was already over 18, Pennsylvania law no longer allowed for paternity to be established. But in New Jersey, the legal age to establish parentage is 23. Still, the case was dismissed outright. Rymir was left to fight through a bureaucratic maze of overlapping state laws and courtroom technicalities. In his eyes, this was never about bending the law. It was about using the law to hide from it. Over the years, he says he's watched the legal system bend under the weight of celebrity power, protecting those who are wealthy and famous while ordinary people are forced to navigate near impossible odds. Rymir has maintained throughout this ordeal that his fight has never been about money or publicity. He doesn't want a cut of Jay-Z's billion-dollar empire. He doesn't want a headline. What he wants is accountability and closure. He said, "This could be over with one simple test. I don't want any money. I just want the truth." He adds that he would even accept a negative result if it meant ending the speculation. "I could take being embarrassed. I've been through a lot. I just can't take him not saying anything. It's not fair. I'm coming to the courts for the truth." His late mother, Wanda, supported him until the very end. Before she passed away in 2019, she recorded a video in which she reaffirmed her belief that Jay-Z was Rymir's biological father. In the recording, she said, "I support my son in his paternity suit with Sean Corey Carter. I stand by my allegations regarding this man." Wanda's death was another emotional blow in an already exhausting process. According to Rymir, it left him with unfinished business and a stronger drive to uncover the truth, not just for himself, but for his children. In the latest twist, Rymir filed a federal lawsuit in May of this year, claiming that Jay-Z had used his immense celebrity influence to manipulate court systems, suppress paternity claims, and violate his constitutional rights. The lawsuit cited everything from deceit by concealment to abusive process and emotional distress. It also accused judges and state officials of engaging in misconduct that effectively blocked Rymir from receiving a fair hearing. But just a few weeks later, on July 18th, Rymir filed a motion to withdraw the case. Legal experts say if the case is dismissed without prejudice, it could still be refiled in the future. Whether Rymir plans to pursue the case again is uncertain, but he has made one thing clear: he will never stop seeking the truth. In public statements, Jay-Z has remained largely silent on the paternity claims, letting his legal team do the talking. They have labeled the efforts of Rymir and his team as a decades-long campaign of harassment and called for the case to be thrown out. They argue there is no credible evidence to support the allegations and that the courts have already spoken. But the absence of a definitive DNA test continues to fuel public speculation and media interest. Adding even more weight to the story is the broader context of Jay-Z's public image, a man who rose from the Marcy projects in Brooklyn to become a global icon, business mogul, and billionaire. His journey from street hustler to one of the most influential cultural figures of our time has been lauded as inspirational. Yet, Rymir's case raises uncomfortable questions. Does success excuse avoidance? Should a person's public persona protect them from basic accountability? Is the truth less important than the brand? Rymir has been careful not to attack Jay-Z personally. In fact, he's often expressed admiration and respect for what he's built. I would never hate Jay-Z. I respect him for everything he's done. I just want him to acknowledge me or take the test. That's it. He also speaks with compassion for Jay-Z's children with Beyoncé, Blue Ivy, Rumi, and Sir. He wants them to have everything they've got. He's not trying to take anything from them. Watching them over the years, it's crazy. I've never wished anything bad on them. That empathy extends to his broader message. This is not about tearing down a legacy. It's about understanding his own. This case also comes at a time when Jay-Z is facing other serious allegations, including a civil lawsuit accusing him and Sean D. Combs of sexually assaulting a 13-year-old girl in 2000. Jay-Z has vehemently denied the claims, calling them heinous and a blackmail attempt. He spoke of how painful it is to explain such accusations to his children, saying, "My wife and I will have to sit our children down and explain the cruelty and greed of people." These words rang hollow to Rymir, who responded that he too was once a child asking questions, and he too deserved answers. He said if Mr. Carter values the ideals of honor and protecting children, as he claims in his letter, he should step forward with transparency. For Rymir, this is no longer just a paternity issue. It's a human rights issue. He has hinted that his next steps could involve federal human rights courts or even a public advocacy campaign to reform how the legal system handles cases involving celebrity defendants. He says the emotional cost has been overwhelming. Anxiety, depression, loss of trust in the legal system, and countless hours in courtrooms where his voice didn't seem to matter. Yet, through it all, he remains steadfast. I'm going to fight until I'm not here no more. If it takes another 10 years, another 50. I may take this to the grave with me, but everyone can say, I fought this until the end. His story is one of persistence, not privilege, of struggle, not spotlight, and of a man who simply wants to know the truth about where he comes from. He doesn't want to ruin anyone's life, dismantle a dynasty, or hijack a legacy. He just wants clarity, something he believes no one should have to fight this hard to get. As of now, no paternity test has been taken, no court has ruled definitively, and no closure has been granted. But one thing is certain, this story is far from over. It is a reminder that even in a world obsessed with fame, the most powerful questions are often the most personal. Who am I? Where do I come from? And why should anyone have to fight this hard just to find out?